Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. The courtroom was a dimly lit space, filled with tension and anticipation. Maya Thompson, a 28-year-old FBI agent, sat in the back row, her heart racing as she observed the proceedings. She had been gathering evidence for 6 months, and today was a day that could change everything. The air was thick with the scent of stale coffee and desperation, and the peeling paint on the walls seemed to echo the decay of justice. Within precisely 2:47 p.m., the door swung open, and in walked Zara Williams, a 15-year-old girl whose life had been turned upside down in a matter of days. She was smaller than Maya had imagined, her school uniform wrinkled, and her lips split from a recent altercation. But it was her eyes that captivated Maya, determined and unyielding, as if she were ready to face the world head-on. Zara had been charged with disturbing the peace and resisting arrest after filming Officer Marcus Reed, a seasoned cop with a history of complaints, using excessive force on an elderly man. The video had gone viral, but instead of facing consequences, it was Zara who found herself in Courtroom 12B, a place reserved for those the system had long forgotten. Maya glanced at her watch, the device discreetly recording every moment. She had to ensure that Zara's story was heard, that the truth would not be buried under the weight of corruption. The judge, Patricia Mills, was known for her harsh rulings against defendants, especially those from marginalized communities. The prosecutor, David Chun, was ambitious and had never lost a case against a teenager. Maya knew the odds were stacked against Zara. As the proceedings began, Chun stood up, his navy suit sharp against the drab backdrop of courtroom. "Your Honor, this case is about respect for law and order. The defendant, Ms. Williams, willfully interfered with a lawful police action." Maya's heart sank as she listened to prosecutor twist the narrative, painting Zara as the aggressor, while Reed was portrayed as a hero to Zara's lawyer. Sarah Martinez was fresh out of law school and clearly overwhelmed. Maya felt a pang of sympathy for her. "Your Honor, my client is a 15-year-old honor student who witnessed what she believed to be police brutality," Sarah stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. Maya could see the fear in her eyes, the weight of the system pressing down on her. As the trial progressed, Officer Reed took the stand. He was a towering figure, exuding confidence as he recounted the events of that fateful day. Maya's blood boiled as he described Zara as combative and agitated. She knew the truth was far from his words. Zara had simply stood her ground, documenting the injustice unfolding before her. When it was Zara's turn to testify, Maya held her breath. The girl spoke clearly, recounting the events with a calmness that belied her age. "I was walking home from school when I saw Officer Reed yelling at an elderly man outside the grocery store. The man looked confused and scared. I pulled out my phone to record." Maya felt a surge of pride for Zara. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. But as the cross-examination began, Chen's tactics turned vicious. He attacked Zara's credibility, trying to paint her as a biased teenager with an agenda against the police. Maya's heart raced as she watched Zara hold her ground, refusing to back down. The courtroom was silent, the tension palpable. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Officer Reed approached Zara during a break. Maya's instincts kicked in as she watched him lean down, whispering something that made Zara tense. And then it happened, a slap that echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot. Time seemed to freeze as everyone stood in shock. Zara's head snapped to the side, blood trickling from her lip, but she remained composed, staring defiantly at Reed. Maya's heart raced as she stood up, her badge in hand. "Officer Reed, you're under arrest." The courtroom erupted in chaos as Reed's expression shifted from confusion to anger. Maya felt a rush of adrenaline as she declared, "You're under arrest for assault and civil rights violations." Judge Mills, bewildered, demanded to know what was happening. Maya stepped forward, presenting the federal warrant that authorized her investigation into corruption within the courthouse. The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Reed's face paled, and the reality of his actions began to dawn on him. As federal agents entered the courtroom to arrest Reed, Maya turned her attention to Zara, who was still sitting at the defendant's table, her hands trembling but her spirit unbroken. "All charges against you are dropped," Maya said, her voice steady. Zara's eyes widened in disbelief, and for a moment, the weight of the world lifted from her shoulders, but the courtroom was still buzzing with tension, and the fight was far from over. Maya knew that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle against corruption that had plagued the system for too long. The stakes were high, and the outcome uncertain as the agents led Reed away. Maya felt a sense of triumph mixed with apprehension. The system had failed Zara, but today it had also begun to change. With Reed's arrest, the corruption that had plagued the courthouse was finally being exposed. Maya took a deep breath, knowing that the fight for justice was just beginning. The courtroom, once a place of despair, now held the promise of change. And as she looked at Zara, who was slowly regaining her composure, Maya realized that the true power of this moment lay not just in the arrest of one officer, but in the courage of a young girl who had dared to stand up for what was right. The echoes of the courtroom would resonate far beyond these walls, igniting a movement that would challenge the very foundations of injustice. And as the gavel came down, signaling the end of this chapter, Maya knew that the Real story was just beginning. As the dust settled, the courtroom buzzed with whispers. Maya felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She had witnessed a turning point, but the fight was far from over. The federal investigation into courthouse's corruption was just beginning, and she knew that the repercussions would be felt throughout the community. Zara, still in shock, looked up at Maya, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maya knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "Now, we make sure your voice is heard. We'll ensure that the truth comes out and that justice is served, not just for you, but for everyone who has suffered at the hands of those who are supposed to protect us." As the courtroom emptied, Maya felt a surge of determination. She had seen too many cases like Zara's swept under the rug, too many lives ruined by a system that prioritized power over justice. But today, they had taken a stand. The next few weeks would be crucial. Maya knew that the media would be watching closely, and public opinion could sway the outcome of the investigation. She had to ensure that Zara's story remained in the spotlight, that the world knew what had happened in that courtroom. As she left the courthouse, Maya's phone buzzed with notifications. News outlets were already reporting on the incident, and social media was ablaze with discussions about police brutality and accountability. She felt a sense of urgency. This was the moment to rally support, to amplify Zara's voice. Maya reached out to community leaders, activists, and organizations dedicated to civil rights. She organized a press conference to share Zara's story, to highlight the systemic issues that had allowed Officer Reed to act with impunity for so long. The community needed to come together to demand change. Days turned into weeks, and the pressure mounted. The investigation revealed a web of corruption that extended beyond Officer Reed. Maya uncovered evidence of collusion between law enforcement and local officials, a network that had silenced victims and protected abusers. The more she dug, the more she realized how deep the rot ran. But with each revelation, the community began to rise. Protests erupted, demanding justice for Zara and others like her. People from all walks of life came together, united by a common cause. Maya felt a sense of hope as she watched the movement grow, fueled by the courage of a young girl who had dared to stand up against injustice. Then came the day of the press conference. The room was packed with reporters, cameras flashing as Maya took the podium. She introduced Zara, who stood beside her, a symbol of resilience and strength. The young girl spoke passionately about her experience, her voice steady and unwavering. "I recorded what I saw because I believed it was wrong," Zara said, her eyes shining with determination. "I want everyone to know that we can't stay silent. We have to speak up for those who can't." As she spoke, Maya felt a swell of pride. Zara was no longer just a victim. She was a leader, inspiring others to join the fight for justice. The room erupted in applause, and Maya knew they were on the brink of something monumental. But just as the momentum seemed unstoppable, a shadow loomed over proceedings. Rumors began to circulate about attempts to discredit Zara, to paint her as a troublemaker rather than a hero. Maya knew they had to act quickly to protect her. As the press conference concluded, Maya received a tip-off about a potential threat to Zara's safety. She immediately contacted local law enforcement to ensure the girl was protected. The stakes were higher than ever, and Maya was determined to keep Zara safe and the days that followed. The investigation intensified. Maya worked tirelessly, gathering evidence and building a case against those involved in corruption. But she also focused on ensuring Zara's safety, knowing that the young girl had become a target. Then one evening, as Maya was reviewing documents in her office, she received a call that sent chills down her spine. "Agent Thompson, we have a situation," the voice on the other end said urgently. "Zara's been approached by someone claiming to be a friend of Officer Reed. They're trying to intimidate her." Maya's heart raced. She knew they had to act fast. Get a team together. We need to protect her and gather evidence of this intimidation. As she rushed to Zara's location, Maya felt a mix of fear and determination. They were fighting not just for justice, but for the very safety of a young girl who had shown incredible bravery. The stakes had never been higher, and Maya was ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. Just as Maya arrived at the location, she spotted Zara standing outside a cafe, her expression tense. A man loomed nearby, his demeanor threatening. Maya's instincts kicked in, and she approached with purpose, her badge visible. "Zara, are you okay?" she called out, her voice steady. The man turned, his eyes narrowing as he assessed the situation. "This is none of your business, Agent Thompson," he sneered. Maya stepped closer, her heart pounding. "It is my business when someone tries to intimidate a witness. You need to leave her alone." The man smirked, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "You think you can protect her? This is just the beginning." Maya felt a surge of anger. "You have no idea what you're up against. We will expose the truth, and you will be held accountable." As the tension escalated, Zara looked at Maya, her eyes filled with gratitude and fear. Maya knew they had to stand strong together. This was a pivotal moment, not just for Zara, but for the entire community. The man took a step back, sensing the resolve in Maya's stance. "You think you can scare me? You don't know who you're dealing with." Maya took a deep breath, her voice firm. "I know exactly who I'm dealing with, and I won't let you intimidate Zara or anyone else. This ends now." With that, the man turned and walked away, but Maya knew this was far from over. They had made a powerful enemy, but they had also ignited a movement that could not be extinguished. As they stood together, Zara's expression shifted from fear to determination. "Thank you, Agent Thompson. I won't back down. We have to keep fighting." Maya nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their quest for justice. The fight was just beginning, and they were ready to take on the world. And as they walked away from the cafe, Maya knew that the echoes of their courage would resonate far beyond this moment, inspiring others to stand up and speak out against injustice. The real battle for change had only just begun. Do you want to know the fate of the heroes? Please post part 2. Subscribe to the channel and continue watching. Your opinion and support are important to me. Leave it in the comments. Thank you.